So, how did you get involved with Samuel Kamen, the man behind Stoneyfield Farm Yogurt?
Well,
It was already a business, wasn't
Well,
it?
no, it wasn't. It was an organic farming school called the Rural Education Center. And while I was at New Alchemy Institute on Cape Cod, as a New Hampshire native, I was traveling back and forth to my home state where Samuel had this struggling little organic farming school. Samuel had at that time one cow, and we would sit at these board meetings and try to figure out how we were going to keep his school alive, especially when the Reagan cuts came in. And we would eat. He made this spectacular yogurt. He also, by the way, made wonderful pickles and delicious beer, but thankfully we chose the yogurt as a way to fund the school. We literally thought this is our alternative venture capital.
Hadn't he learned how to make his yogurt from Orthodox Jews in Brooklyn?
Absolutely, which is where he was born.
So that it was a more traditional approach.
It was, but it was also organic. Samuel was one of the sort of early natural foods pioneers who recognized that almost all food, in fact, literally all food until the 1930s was organic. And by blending natural and organic methods and adding more cultures, the so-called multiple organisms that we have in every cup, we could create a healthier product and also do some good for family farms, which is really where he and I came together.
Wasn't he also $75,000 in the red?
Well, when I arrived, he knew that I was coming full-time on board from my trusteeship. And because I gave him 3 months' notice as I wound down my other job. And so during that period, Samuel cashed every check that came in, but left every bill for Gary. So when I arrived, there were 3 desks piled high with bills, and I spent my first 4 hours looking for even a single check. They were all long gone. But yes, I found that we were $75,000 in the red in my first morning's work.
Now, you asked the owner of the farm he was renting to agree to stop collecting rent for a whole year. If he had said no, the end of this story.
I would not be standing here talking to you. So the Stoneyfield story, which is now, as you pointed out in your introduction, 25 years, our first 7 years were just mired with endless of these occasions. We had constant crises. We had, oftentimes my bedroom was about 50 feet from the office, which is 50 feet from the barn where we made the yogurt, and I would sometimes at night when I couldn't meet payroll the next morning, I would tiptoe out of bed to call my mother-in-law, thinking my wife was asleep, to ask her if I could borrow, $3,000 or $5,000. And Meg, my wife, would be on the phone on the other line saying, "Mom, don't do it." We have endless nightmares, and part of the purpose of my book is to really inspire other entrepreneurs who've got their dreams to stick with it. I've determined in my history that being green, being environmental, having a mission, but also having a superior product and being determined is the right formula for success.